Hello and welcome back to Before Our Friends Die. You're joined by me, Kavan.
Me, Rash.
And we are still joined by our very special guest from last week, Danny Mirza. If you want to know how to supercharge your LinkedIn, we've got the 10 commandments of that last week. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. But for now, you know what this is. We get to know Danny like we get to know all of our guests with our 7 signature questions. First up, Rachel, over to you.
Let's go. So this question might throw you off, but who is the richest person in your phone book? You won't need to give names if you don't want to, but it would be nice to know their career, job.
Okay, I think I would look at this question from a different lens.
Okay.
Rich for me is definitely not the person with the most amount of money.
Okay.
I think wealth of knowledge is priceless.
Okay.
I think the richest person, and I would definitely give a shout out to my father.
Oh, man.
I think I've done 3 masters. He has done 3 masters as well.
Smashed
I need
it.
to beat him. I need to do a 4th one. But I think he was the reason I am what I am today. I think his wealth of knowledge is basically makes him the most richest person in my phone book. And I've saved him as Papa.
Love
Beautiful, beautiful.
Kudos to you, Papa. I think you're the most richest person I know.
Love
Beautiful. I think that's the second time someone's answered it like that now.
Do you know what? I think the one you're thinking of is they talked about richness and wealth of spirit.
But I mean, the context of not money.
Yeah, not money. Yeah, for sure.
Because we question it as, we assume always money, rich and everything.
Materialistic stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, good answer, man. Shout out to your dad.
3 masters, just out of interest. What are they in?
Yeah.
So I've done an MBA, which is proper business, MBA in marketing, and then did a MA in human resources, HR.
Okay.
CIPD level 7. I'm an HR consultant as well. Then I did my 3rd master's in social innovation, MSc in social innovation. So yeah, 3 masters. Might do a 4th one, but my wife would hate me. To kill me. I do all-nighters. That's the problem. Because I don't, me being chaotic,
Yeah.
I don't do my assignments well in advance. I just do it one last night, all-nighter, and she's like, why are you up?
Your students watching this now, like...
Yeah, do all-nighters if you can. I love that.
I love the pressure. That was me.
I love the
that
pressure. I love the adrenaline rush when you get it. The closest I have gone to submitting an assignment was 3 minutes. Anything could have gone wrong. Let me share a story if I'm allowed to.
Go for it.
It's such a cool story, and students don't do it, but I think you could do it. And, which is, it was my dissertation.
Yeah.
I messed it up. I messed the time. I thought the dissertation, the deadline was maybe the 12 a.m. of the particular day, of the last day. It was 12 p.m. So it was noon when I had to submit, and I had the final touches on my dissertation still left. I was like, what to do? A very weird thing, and I'm saying this live now, which is, so there's something, a resource online, which is called PDF Corruptor. Okay.
I've never heard of
So, you need to upload your, dissertation as a PDF.
I think I know what you did.
Turn it in, right? So what I did was I uploaded my dissertation to PDF Corruptor. The PDF got it corrupted. So what happens is it's a fine PDF. It gets uploaded. It's just that it cannot be opened up by somebody. And went to, turn it in, accepted, it's fine. And I wanted more time. And it was it was a Friday. So they got back to me on Wednesday when some person opened it up. Oh, Danny, the file got corrupted. I'm like, really? Oh my God, I put in so much effort in it. I'll send you the new one. But that time,
That is amazing. I wish I knew you on
Sorry
that.
to my Lancaster teachers, but Lancaster University, that's what I did.
Smashed it. That is...
Well, listen, at the end of the day, last week, Danny gave you 10 tips on how to supercharge your LinkedIn. And this week, you just got a smashing tip on how to buy yourself some more time,
And beat the system.
and beat the system.
Definitely. That's the person I am, beating system.
Oh, I wish I knew that. Would have got a couple of extra days on my assignments.
Yeah, I could have bought myself a couple more hours, please.
Second question. Who has the most potential that you know?
Okay. It's a very broad question. I think because the most potential would be something or someone I'm working with currently. Because they are more closer to me right now. Okay. So I think let's talk about my work right now, because that's where I spend all my time right now. And I just came from my work right now. So I think the person with the most potential right now is my partner in crime, Demi King. I think she works with me in FPL, and she has the most potential right now. It's her first careers gig. doesn't look like that. Like proper, the energy that she has. I think she has two ways right now for us to choose. Take the D square away. Even if I leave the job and I'm away somewhere, she could still continue the D squareness. Or she could turn into a proper, very lecturer-oriented academic kind of a careers consultant, where they say, I'm just going to deliver a lecture in the class. Or you could be the other way, say, I'm going to career rocket students to something today. I'm not going for a workshop. I'm going to career rocket students. So she has that option. And I think she is taking the D square way. That's what we're called, Demi and Danny D square. I think that's the way. She has the most potential to become an employability juggernaut in a year's time if she continues that path.
Juggernaut. What a word.
I was thinking that. Do you know when you first walked in and you mentioned D squared? I was just sitting there like, that's just a brand, isn't it? Like, just a clothing brand. Now I know the context.
D squared.
What's it? The third question: who's the most influential person that you know?
Well, I think hands down, it's me.
Cheese.
Myself. And I might sound a bit very narcissistic in this, which I am. I'll talk about this later. But I think my innate ability to influence people and students and energize them and motivate them for action, I think that's unparalleled. And I've seen that help me excel in my career. Everything that I do, it's fueled by that spontaneity of mine.
Energy, simple
as that. Energy for me is influence.
I can feel the energy.
See, you could feel it in in this room, and that's me everywhere. So my way of influencing anyone is energy. They could try to ignore it, but they'll be worse off. Like it'll be bad for them. That's what I always say. If somebody does not want my energy, it's like they are basically saying that I don't want to improve myself. That's my way of looking at things. Like my energy is always for the better. And that's what I believe. So whoever is ignoring your energy, basically, who does not want to be influenced by you, wants to stay where they are. Because energy means change. And change is the only constant. We live in a VUCA environment. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The only way you can circumnavigate that and win through it is basically energy and spontaneity. And that's what I believe. And the reason I said I'm the most influential person, me being narcissist, and yes, I am. So there's a term called productive narcissist. I'm that. And you'll be surprised to know this is a book, Productive Narcissist. Search it on Google, and you'll be surprised to know that some great leaders in the world had narcissistic traits.
I think that's, yeah.
Martin Luther King Jr., narcissist. Mahatma Gandhi, for God's sake, literally, look at Mahatma Gandhi, right? A narcissist. Barack Obama. All these people, Nelson Mandela. That book really opened up my mind. I'm like, that's me. I've got a label for my narcissism. Productive narcissism. It helps you excel in your life. It's very tough to manage. It's a tough thing to manage, but I think it energizes you to do amazing stuff. Look at all these people, the names I've taken, the stuff they have done. I think productive narcissism, go search it online. This is the future.
So where do you get your energy from?
I think my energy from is, I would say my mother. My mother is one of the biggest reasons I see this. And I'm a proud son of a small-scale garment maker. And she has always been like this. The energy comes from that end of my family, my mother. And basically, she always said that you could beat the world with energy. Energy has the power. Energy, if you look at energy, speed of light, all of those things. What is that? Energy, right? So everything is filled with energy. You could destroy everything with energy. Hence, that concept of energy can make you do anything in this world. You could win over people with energy and vibes. You could with energy, you win sprints. Usain Bolt and everyone, there you go. That's energy. You could hit a 6 in cricket, energy. You could bowl the fastest ball with energy. There you go. See, energy is everything. You could beat things with energy. That's what she has told me. And this is how she was in her life, being very energetic in whatever she was doing. So maybe that's where it comes from. And moreover, if you look at now where my energy comes from, it stems from students.
So where does this man with all this energy, or how does this man unwind? Decompress. Slow down. I think for me, it'll be my kids. Because I have a way to do this. So
I recently moved away from London.
Okay.
A lot of people think that I have a very London personality, all the energy and all. But that's my way of doing things. So at my work, I'm this full-on, woo, like that. At home, I'm a very different person. That's where I decompress.
Right.
And I think I would give a life advice here, a partner advice. Whenever you have a partner or you marry somebody or whatever, try to have a very different personality to yours. So my wife, kudos to her. Her name is Mushi. So yeah, Mushi, if you're listening, she is a very different personality to me. So she calms me. So I'm like, woo, all the extravagance, and goes to home. Oh, there you go. She's very different. She doesn't get impressed by all of this. See, that's where I decompress. So I think partners, friends of those natures, they can help you decompress. And now my kids, obviously, they decompress everything. And but I think that's the way to do it.
Wicked.
Beautiful. I would love to know this question or the answer to this one. You are at your best when you are.
I think there are two answers to this. One which is very diplomatic and which suits my career, which is I'm best when I'm around students, all the buzz and all the energy, and I'm loving this and the vibes they give me, which is fine. But I think the other answer, the real answer is I am best. The best version of Danny comes up when I'm allowed to bypass the system for the greater good. When I'm allowed to make do. When I'm allowed to do things on my own terms.
Okay.
Autonomy. That's when I'm the best. You give me a free rein and I'll make things happen. I'll make wonders happen. Literally. So that's when I'm the best. When I could circumnavigate the barriers, if you allow me to do that, give me that, space, I'll show you stuff. And that is a fine example of how I work. Go to my LinkedIn, see the stuff that I do. Follow some other career consultants anywhere in the UK. They might not even have a cover on their photo, on their profile. They might not have anything to share. They might have been doing a lot of amazing work, but maybe over tens of years or 5 years, they might have done 2 projects or something. Go to my profile, you'll see 5 projects in 6 months. There you go. And that can only happen thanks to my organization. Obviously, they have given me that. So thanks to them. There you go. So whenever I'm allowed to bypass the system and make things work, I think that's when I'm doing the best. So it's like a shout out and a request to everyone who's working with me. Make that happen.
So what is it about the system that requires you to bypass it?
I think the dissonance or the mismatch of energy and higher education. Again, higher education is very rigid. Irrespective of your post-92 university or if you're a Russell group, it is a very rigid, a very slow industry. If you want to change one thing in a course, it would require 2 years. 2 years for 2 years for one small assignment to change. So this is too slow as compared to the industry. We are sending students to the corporate sector with this preparation or this speed. Hence, this is the reason I'm in careers, basically. So I think that's the biggest reason. This mismatch of energy. So I need to bypass that because I'll be wasting my time here or anywhere I'm working if I'm not allowed to do the best I can. Hence, that's the reason I need to bypass the system. Because if bypassing the system can help me do my job better, let it be. Let's allow that to happen. So I think this is the biggest advice to any organization, any employee, anywhere. I think status quo, challenge it. Norms, change them. Ways of working, heuristics, rule of thumb, break the thumb.
Powerful.
Make your own thing wherever you go and work, and you'll be happy. Simple.
Next question. One thing you never regret doing?
Okay,
Breaking
one thing I'll never regret doing. That's a tough one. I don't regret anything, but whatever I do, I think not regretting anything. Again, talks about the last point I said. I think I'm very unapologetic, so I don't regret being unapologetic in my way of working. My way of working is very weird. This is who I am. So I would never regret working in the way I work. And which is, I do not believe in equality at all. I believe in equity. Equity is key. The demise and the downfall of every organization is when they're trying to achieve equality. People with no vision or lack of vision, they're trying to implement equality everywhere. It's easier to do. Give everyone the same thing. Yeah. Standardized processes. You see that everywhere. Standard, let's make a standard. Let's make, a benchmark. I'm like, what the hell? Benchmarking? Rise above that. Every day, beat your own benchmark. Make your own standard. So I think my way of working, I'm very unapologetic. So I don't regret my chaotic way of working. It works for me. So I would never regret working in the way I work. Never ever. Never be unapologetic. I might not be a great team player, and I say that openly. But not everyone does not need to be a great team player for you to make a difference in your organization. That's the biggest advice I'm giving you. A lot of people say, I need to learn how to be a great team player. It's fine if you're not. If you're adding value to the clientele and the job you're doing, that's what matters. What's the point of being a great team player and being bad at your job? What's the point? I always say this. It's more of a religious thing as well. You came alone in this world, you'll go alone. Right? Live your life on your own terms. Stop people pleasing. And I think if you're successful, everyone would want to join that bandwagon. Lead by example. Get this term, lead by example. Lead by example can never happen when you try to fit in. Will never ever happen. That's equality. When you try to fit in, that's equality, right? Equity is when somebody lets you lead by example.
Lets you stand out.
And like I always say this, wherever I work, I'm a manager's dream. Why is that? Because I lead by example. Who wouldn't want me in their teams? Because I make them look good, right? And everyone wants that. They might not say that openly or explicitly, would say, oh, no, Danny, maybe, develop some teamwork and develop something and all, and, develop the art of delegation and all. I'm like, what is delegation? There's a term called effective delegation. It is leading by example. What's the point of delegating for the sake of delegating? And just saying, just do this thing. Isn't it better to show them how you do things, and maybe then they'll show you how they do things and find the best way to do this? The biggest problem I see in today's world is people delegate for the sake of delegation. And that ends up, and the problem is you end up with a low quality output. Because you're delegating for the sake of delegating. Specialization is gone. Equity is specialization. If somebody is good at something, use that. And I always say this, if you have a strength and a weakness, don't spend your time trying to improve your weakness. Make your strength into a super strength. It would be easier to take something from 80 to 110% rather than to take something from 20 to 40. That jump of your weakness, improving your weakness, is much more tough, time consuming, and would be of no use. That weakness will still be your weakness. Yeah, it's less of a weakness now, but it still is.
Yeah.
Isn't it better to use your strength and make it into a super strength? So I think I'm very unapologetic in all the things that I've said. So I never regret these things.
I've never had someone tell me to do that, but it makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
Thank you.
And the team player thing, that's beautiful, to be honest, because normally everybody goes, yeah, team player, you have to. But what you said there makes complete sense, to be honest. And you're probably the first person to ever say it, to me anyway.
There you go. I think,
or to us. Yeah.
And I think one needs to be honest. Go ask students or ask yourself, did you enjoy working in group projects?
Not really, no.
See, everyone says that. And this is the reason, because we are trying to fit in. The best kind of group projects are where you select a leader, you believe in the vision, and usually this is how it should work. Once one person should stand up and say, I'll lead this project, this is my vision, and have consensus. Obviously, it's we live in democracy. Ask them, this is my vision, do you guys agree with this? Or how we can improve this? And let that person take lead, and then that person would know the specialization of every single person in the group, and that's equity. So if somebody is good at something, make them do it more, rather than trying them to, learn something else. Or maybe you need to improve that. What's the point?
I think there's something to be said as well, where if you become the top 10% in the world at anything, the amount of money you can charge is insane. because you're the top 10%.
You are.
If you're the top 50%, top 60%, yeah, you can command a decent wage, but nowhere near the same that a top 10%. And I often personally go back and forth between, do I try and fill my gaps or do I try and completely lean into my strengths? I feel at my best when I'm leaning into my strengths. And then I question myself, well, should I try and be an all-rounder? And ultimately, these conversations influence it as well. I'm probably not a great all-rounder, but I'm great at what I'm good at.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I usually use this phrase. You must have heard this phrase, the jack of all trades. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've changed it a bit.
Okay.
Me being in business, studying MBA. So MBAs are like that. So jack of all trades, master of some, not none.
Okay.
See, look at the world differently. It's fine to know a lot of these skills and be jack of all trades, but be master of some, then none. It's good to have that all-roundedness, but then again, don't make that your profession. Use the skills that you gain from the all-roundedness to help you do your strength better. Help you do your job, which is the main focus. Make it do better. So basically, go through those lines, along those lines.
Yeah. Next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay.
About 3 jobs in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 3 more jobs. But
No, I'm scared right now.
yeah, I think 5 years' time, a materialistic answer, an honest answer would be I'll be maybe a director of some career service somewhere in the UK in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say it is very ambitious, but yeah, I will make it happen somehow. And but that's a materialistic answer. But let's give a more visionary answer, which is something which fuels me. I think being in higher education, I see how it is. I need to make careers and employability cool. That's where you see me in 5 years. So every student that participates in some careers and employability stuff, they should feel cool. They'd be like, wow, this is something cool to be associated with. So my vision in 5 years' time, I'll be somewhere branding careers and employability and making it look larger than life. So you see me in 5 years making a larger than life image of careers. That is the biggest problem I see. I go to classrooms, I give them a vision of the future. I'm like, inspire them. What is careers consultancy? CVs, cover letters, you find that online. How to make a CV? ChatGPT can do that better than me. Careers consultancy is all about motivating and inspiring them. And that's what is lacking. That's where you see me in 5 years. Coming up with this movement of making careers and employability cool and larger than life, where you walk the talk first. When you go into a classroom, you're not another academic or teacher coming there to show them some slides. You are there to inspire them to do some action, make things happen. They should look up to you. Idol? Careers people should be like that. When you go to a classroom, you should have some stories of your life to share. I go to classrooms, I tell them all the part-time jobs that I've done. My journey from, I'm from a different country. I was a regional manager back in my country. My first job here in the UK. From that, I had a PA back in my country. A PA, and I was managing 3 cities worth of business. Cool. I came here, my first job as pot washer for a buffet. There you go. But how I went, and this is 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
3.5 years ago from that to this job right now and sitting in this podcast. There you go. Things can happen. Very, very quickly you can do all of those things. So everyone has something inspirational to share. I look at all of the other career consultants in all these organizations that I've worked with. Everyone has something special to share. The problem is everyone is so closed. They think their credibility comes from education. It doesn't. They think their credibility is how professional they sound. No, it's not. Gen Zs in today's world, they connect to you more if you tell them a story. You give them narrative of your own life. You inspire them with what you have done. I think that's where you see me in 5 years. Like where I start a movement where career consultants are not bookish people, not theoretical people, but people who inspire students to do something about their lives. That's where you see me in 5 years.
I was going to say, I never had one when I was at uni. I didn't even hear about it. I don't know if there was anything then. There was, and you're eligible for lifelong support. But it depends, because as a student, that's the last thing on your mind.
I was going to say, employability is unfortunately viewed by many, but not all, as a add-on, as a bolt-on right at the end. I'm finished my degree now. Let me get a job. Who do I go to? These people. They can sort out my CV. They can... No. It's a journey of vision. Vision's incredibly important. I'm only realising that now, by the way. I didn't know that when I was 21. It was it's a journey. It's a vision. You need to have direction and guidance. And this is where people like Danny can really come in and inspire people early to say, look, the time is now to get started. And your future self will thank you when you do get started.
There you go. And I always say this thing around careers and employability. I think you need to learn to sell your education. Simple as that. Every single person is a graduate in today's market.
Yeah.
If you do not learn how to sell your education, it's of no use. I always give example of myself. 3 masters, pieces of paper. The value is never the transcript or the degree you get. The value is the way I talk about my education. That's the value of education. The education is never the piece of paper that you get at the end. It's all about how you talk about it. So I think that's the plan. That's where you see me in 5 years. Changing this whole scenario of careers and employability.
When do you get in contact with your students? Is it first year, second, third year?
I think all different years. Even pre-start as well. Look at the open days and stuff. We are still there. Yeah. I think there's so much improvement that can be done with open days and how we could inspire them and not come across as just another support service.
Yeah.
And that's where the larger than life image comes in. Some of the new stuff that I'm about to start is basically use flash mobs. Nobody's done that yet. So careers flash mobs. And I have a good plan for it, which is something you could definitely do. Tell the lecturer before that you're coming on the class, but the lecturer would act that they were not expecting you. Just go into a class and just say, I'm just taking over the class. Whatever this guy is telling you, it's important, but not important than career and employability. Imagine the class. What would they feel?
You get them hooked on.
You'll be like, wow, what's happening? He's taking over the class. But the lecturer would know this, but they would act, they will play along. Like, you just sit down, propers, please. This is important, but not as important. There you go, imagine. Career flash mobs. These little gimmick stuff, we need to do that ASAP. Otherwise, we'll lose Gen Zs. I think the previous generations, they still used to consider careers and employability something. And right now, because this Gen Z this generation, is into self-help, so they will help themselves. This career stuff, I think, if they see all the stuff that we do is online, they'll help themselves. So I think that's where you need to bring larger than life image. That being associated with careers, you're getting something much more. You're getting that energy to rock your world and your career. I think that's where it's headed. So we need to come across as some good idols they can look up to. So that's where you see myself. Yeah,
and the last question I've got, what would you tell yourself what you know now 10 years ago?
Oh, I think this will be the smallest answer. I'll be like, keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right track. Thank you.
That's what we pretty much said as well, didn't we?
Yeah, don't stress.
Don't stress. I wouldn't change anything.
Everything works out.
I wouldn't change anything. I would be like, just do what you're doing. Just do what you're doing. I think, because I never regret anything. Whatever I did 10 years ago, I think I was on the right path. Because everything that you do, even if you lose or even if you don't do it right, you are learning. I would never replace my learning with successes. Never ever. Cherish your failures and then you'll become successful. Only then you will know how to become the best version, all that TikTok stuff. Cherish your failures. Yeah. Enjoy them.
And all the LinkedIn stuff.
yeah, literally.
Hashtag development.
Development, literally. So that's my advice. No advice to Danny 10 years ago. No advice at all. Carry on.
Beautiful.
And there we have it. Listen, I'm sitting here right now trying to reflect in my own mind. And what I got out of that was Danny is a guy who circumvents the rules for the greater good. He's driven. I'll say it. He's driven as fuck. So make sure you leave this driven as well. If you are feeling like you want to supercharge your LinkedIn, don't forget to check out last week's episode where we had Danny in that same seat giving us basically a master's worth of knowledge on how to supercharge your LinkedIn. This has been Before Our Friends Die on the akhi&saltfish Digital Network. You're joined by me, Kavan.
Me, Rash.
And our very special guest, Danny Mirza.
Thank you, Danny, man.
All his links are below. Thank you so much for joining us. One thing I want to say is if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to go in the archive. Check out our other episodes too. We also feature shows like Sofa Senseis if you're into combat sports, and Cool, Fine, Dumb, Wicked if you love music. Finally, the last thing to say is please share this episode, share our other episodes, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star rating and review, because you know those things, algorithms, it really helps us out with those. There we have it. Take care and good night.
Thank you. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you.